Mr. Gilroy, sir. Mr. Gilroy Mathew.
Yes.
Mr. Gilroy Mathew, can we just wait 5 minutes? I think there's another meeting that is going on. It will end in within 5 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope everyone has joined. Others might come in within a few minutes. So I think it's better that we kickstart this event. Good evening to you all. First of all, I would like to wish all of you a happy Engineers Day. Myself, Siddharth, Program Committee Head of ASME GCBH, I will be the one delivering today's welcome note. Most importantly, with all due respect, on behalf of ASME GCB, I would like to welcome Mr. Gilroy Mathew to this event. For those who don't know, Gilroy Mathew serves as Vice President and Head of Semiconductors of UST. Gilroy was instrumental in creating the semiconductor vertical and enabled it to move up the value chain in running pre-silicon, post-silicon, embedded and electronic manufacturing across 13 countries. Gilroy has more than 23 years of experience in information technology and client management. Before heading the company's semiconductor vertical, Gilroy served as operations manager responsible for overall delivery and sales for the India business unit. Gilroy further served as accounts manager responsible for client relationships across geographies and held global P&L responsibilities. Gilroy drives innovation and differentiated delivery models with passion and enthusiasm. He created a world-class semiconductor organization servicing customers in retail, automotive, telecom, healthcare, and manufacturing. He further established the Asia-Pacific business for UST and helps customers leverage cutting-edge digital practices in 5G, IoT, AI, and video analytics. Gilroy sits on the board of Coconics, a consumer electronics company that sells computers entirely made in India. He led the development of Coconics in partnership with Intel and the Kerala state government. He had been in the East Coast and Northwest region of the US for more than 8 years before returning to India. He has a great relationship with CIOs of some of the Fortune 50 customers globally. We are really happy and proud to have you, sir. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome all the enthusiastic participants to this event. Thank you, sir. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Siddharth, and good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, Mr. Gilroy.
Okay. And so it's an honor and a pleasure to be part of this session. And especially when ASME, which is part of the Government Engineering College of Borden Hill, invited me to be part of this, I didn't have any problem because we had been doing similar sessions for different colleges. As we believe, industry has a big role to play in enabling the next future generation of the people who can contribute to the success of IT. And that is why I'm here, and I'm really looking forward to this session. And when I inquired about what's the topic of discussion for all of you, I understand it is organized by the Mechanical Engineering Group, but I felt that it might be beneficial for me to talk about the larger audience, including mechanical as well as any other trade, primarily because we all have the habit of talking about only computer science as part of IT. But I know that that's not the case anymore. Whether it is mechanical engineering or even civil engineering has a role to play in IT today. So that's why I've picked the topic, the digital era of engineering, to cover across all the technology areas, as well as what is that you need to do to be enabled to be successful in IT. And what are some of the things that the companies look for when you are interviewed for different positions. And then also, I want to really touch upon some of the cutting edge digital technologies that are really in the forefront now. I know everybody's talking about it. I'm sure you would also have heard about it and done some projects in different semesters. So that's why it's a package that I would like to talk about for the next 30 to 45 minutes. And we have also included certain videos that will give you some snippets of what are the real case study scenarios of some of these digital era solutions. And definitely at the end, I think I'm more than happy to have some Q&A where you are more than happy to ask any questions that I will try to answer. So with that, I also have my colleagues from UST, Albert and Ashik joining me, who are part of our organization from a semiconductor perspective globally. So thank you, Albert and Ashik, for joining along with me. Albert, can you move on to the next slide? So, as I said, I'm sure a lot of you would have heard about UST, and I know we as an organization also take a lot of students from Bottom Hill. So, I'm sure you would have even visited our facility or campus, which is a beautiful facility that we have here. And I'm sure in the coming years also you all will have an opportunity to come in and visit maybe after COVID. I thought I'll touch upon UST and how it was built and what is the framework and the DNA of the company. I'm sure a lot of people might be interested to know that. And I'm sure some of your parents or relatives, cousins, uncles might be working in UST, so you must be familiar with UST in that way as well. Second thing, see, we all are always anxious to invite the new joiners every year from different colleges. And that's why I thought I'll put across some of the differentiators that we look upon when we interview people within UST. And I'm sure it is applicable for any other company as well. So that is another thing that I want to suggest as some of the tips that you should actually look upon. And third, this is where I think everybody talks about digital age, digital transformation, but there are things that need to be driven through your passion. Everybody cannot do everything, right? So at the same time, it is very, very important for all of you to identify what's your strength and what's your interest level and what's your passion that enables you to drive it to a career. So I'll touch upon that. And again, pick and choose the interest areas that you see, and then that will enable you to really be successful in your career. And the last but not the least, some of the very important attributes that enables an individual to be successful in IT. And that is another thing that I thought I'll touch upon. And if there are any questions after that, I'll take it. Okay. Hope this is of interest for you, the areas that I'm trying to cover. But if you feel free, if you feel that something else needs to be known, please feel free to ask during the question Q&A. So, Albert, can you move on? Albert, I don't think the audio is coming in.
Yes, the audio was working. Let me just try once again.
Sure. Albert?
Yes, Gil, 1 second.
Thank you, Albert. So now what you saw there is an overall amalgamation of all the things, right? What we have studied in school and college and what we experience with our customers with different domains, whether it is healthcare, whether it is retail, BFSI, or even telecom, semiconductor, logistics, you name it, right? Today's world, I think that is where the technology or the digital transformation is enabling everyone through one thing that is common, which is one is innovation, second is digital transformation. When you say digital transformation, right, silicon is on the middle of everything. Whether it is hardware, earlier we used to talk about silicon chips or semiconductors only in the hardware side, but now anything and everything, including all the domains and platforms, needs a silicon chip. And that's the way the world is moving. Now, how does that affect all of you as well as all of us? It is based on the stream that you pick and choose. Now, before you even get to those areas of expertise, in 2 years, 3 years of your career, you have a building block, the foundation that you need to build within any organization. And that is where we cannot talk about foundation without our late founder, Chairman G. M. Menon. And I don't know how many of you know him. He was instrumental in bringing UST to Kerala. And he was from Kerala, but living in Beverly Hills in US. And he was an amazing visionary. He said the only thing that he wants to do is, we have amazing colleges in Kerala. And we have a lot of people that move out of Kerala for work. And I really want to attract them back. And that's how UST came into existence in 1999. And during my school days, I heard about G. Menon for all the different reasons. In fact, I think when I was in 10th or 11th, I think he's from Thrissur, by the way. And he was the first to bring in a limousine Cadillac to Kerala. I'm sure some of you would have heard that or seen that. He was the first to bring in limousine Cadillac, which I'm sure some of you would have seen it. When he brought it first time in Kerala, way back in the 80s, and I think it was a main news item in the front page, talking, G. Menon's car has been taken by custody, primarily because they felt that it is a moving mobile bar, because it has got all the luxury in that car. So that was how G. Menon was there in our hearts from those days. But when he decided to start something in Kerala for the first time, and now today we are the first unicorn in the state of Kerala, which you are sure you are aware what do you mean by unicorn, a company that gets into $1 billion revenue. And we are proud to say that we are the first to do that in Kerala from IT. It's all because of G.M. Menon's visionary and the thoughts that he has instilled in all of us way back from 1999. And I've been fortunate to be part and parcel of that journey from the beginning, and also had been fortunate to interact with G.M. Menon and learn from him. He only had 4 things to talk: the values, culture, the customer, and employees. What does that mean? When you talk about values, right, he was very clear. When you talk about values, it has to come from your heart. And what has to come from your heart? 3 things: the humility, humanity, and integrity. What does humility mean? It is very, very relevant for all of us, right? Humility means our ability to listen and learn from others, which is an amazing trait. I mean, we all have our own ways of doing things, but until and unless we have an attribute that enables us to be humble, enables us to have that empathy, to really make sure that we listen to somebody and learn from them, that makes you a person that has the ability to grow, learn and grow. So always you need to possess that ability to have that humility, which is very important, especially when you interact with multiple box of people from different parts of the world. Second part he spoke about is humanity, which is, again, people correlate CSR activities as the humility part. I would say that it is only one element of humility. Humility is all about how do we really take care of others in the society. It's not only from a healthcare standpoint, it can be from anything, whether it is the environmental thing, whether it is the schools that we need help, or it could be the hospitals or anything, right? You name it. So that's the humility that comes in. And third thing, again, we don't need to debate too much on it, on the integrity part. If you don't have integrity, you can't succeed in your career. It is very, very important, because the customers trust you based on the commitments that you make. And if they can't trust, it breaks a relationship that you're creating. It could be with your immediate managers, or it could be even with your customers. So these are the 3 fundamentals which are relevant for any individual. And I would suggest that all of you should also take this as something back to your career as well. Saying, if I need to be successful, I need to have my own values. And what are those values? You define it. These are the things that we have defined for UST and for our employees. But you yourself can have your own definition, or even add more into what you think as the values that define the individual aspirations as well as your growth. The next thing is the culture. Culture is, again, very important. In a company, nobody calls anyone sir. If somebody calls sir, then there is a fine. We call it the Sir Chairman's Fund. And that is, again, we instilled it from day one. G.M. was very clear. We all are equal. Only thing is we are doing different jobs. There is no hierarchy. And at the same time, when we work in UST, we want to really have that openness. We need to have the learning culture. We need to have fun. We need to have empowerment for people to make decisions and even voice their opinion. And that is very, very important. And that also comes to the other side of it, right? If all of us are shy to open up and talk about it, how will people know the ability of an individual until and unless you really speak out? And that is also a cultural thing. And I encourage all of you as the budding leaders of next generation coming up into different companies, have that ability to really open up and talk and express yourself in any meeting. There is no right or wrong answer. It's always about how do you open up and talk so that people can actually recognize you and your talents. Third thing, obviously the customer. In this case, as and when assume that you join a company, immediately you get allocated to a project, and that project will definitely belong to another customer ABC. So at that point, there are so many attributes that actually enables you to succeed. Because from the day one, you are actually evaluated on different parameters, because every company needs leaders to emerge. And we all know everybody cannot be leaders too. So who are the people who stands out? They are the people gets the opportunity to really perform and grow and climb up the ladder. And that is where innovation plays a very critical role. Think about what you can do differently every day. That enables you to differentiate yourself from your peer group. Because always your ranking within your teams is based on a relative ranking. Compared to your peer group, what did you do extra? So always have that innovation mindset and think of the success that you can actually take it back to your customers as well as your managers. And the last but not the least, but it's the employee. Employee is, again, in UST, it is a flat organization. Whereas in some of the other organizations, I know that they follow a hierarchical model, but different organizations have their own guidelines. But you are the best judge to understand that and then adapt to that. That is also very important for your career and as well for you to succeed. Because if you don't understand the environment, it will be very difficult for you to enable yourself and get adjusted to it. So these are some of the things that I'm telling you as a person in the industry that I have seen how people succeed. So it is up to you to adapt and understand these things and then take it on your own and figure out what defines my values in culture and how should I perform from day one if I'm getting an opportunity to work in an IT company. And those are the things that I really want to leave it with you. Can you move on, Albert? Now, I'm sure that there are people who are actually listening to this who are actually getting into some campus interviews, and some of them may be closer to getting into that aspect. But for everyone that are aspiring to be a member in an IT company or even mechanical engineering company, I'm sure when you talk about mechanical, the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is automotive, because that has got the largest opportunities for mechanical. Even others has got it, manufacturing has got it. But automotive manufacturing is actually becoming a very big topic of discussion, especially because it's in the news. Because the chipsets that's required for automotive is not available. And obviously there is a lot of talk against when it's going to be made available and so on and so forth. And along with that, we're also talking about connected cars, electric cars, and so on and so forth. And self-driving cars and so on and so forth. So all of those mechanical engineers who are aspiring to get into different job opportunities, these are some of the things that you need to keep in your mind. For any job that you pick up, whether it is mechanical engineering or computer science or anything, right? The analytical ability for you to think through the business problem of a customer is very, very, very important. I'm sure, all of you would have been trained to say that, okay, I need to learn this, I need to learn the tooling on CAD/CAM or Java or .NET. That is fine, because that is definitely your primary skills. But the important aspect that enables you to succeed in interviews as well as in any of your future is how do you ask the relevant questions to understand the business of a customer. Assume that somebody is interviewing. You can ask, which vertical am I going to work on? And if they say, okay, it's automotive, then you can specifically ask, what are the type of projects that you do in automotive that enables me to succeed in your company? And then deep dive by asking questions to get to the business problem that you're trying to solve by joining a company. And that analytical skills will enable you to really succeed in understanding the problem statement and solving it with a solution. And the solution can be anything that I'll come across pretty soon. It need not be the tooling that you have, but it could be the data analytics that you do, or it could be the AI machine learning that you are enabled with, or it could be anything related to AR, VR, or cloud, or anything, right? That's the secondary part, the applying of the technology. But the first part is correlation of the business problem, and then thinking through that, and then trying to solve a problem in the most intuitive way. The second part is the numerical ability, which I'm sure those who are actually getting into engineering, obviously they would be learning maths. And obviously when people, especially the school kids, right, we always say that, okay, whatever you do, you need to learn maths too. And even today, even the medical engineering space, we encourage people to take biomaths so that you can actually get to that. Because even today, even in medicine, you need all of these things because a lot of surgeries are being done by robots now. And the awareness of technology is very, very relevant. In fact, we at UST is doing some programs on digital transformation for different schools today in Trivandrum. And there we are saying the same thing. When we created an AI machine learning lab for certain schools, some of the questions came from parents saying, okay, is it only relevant for those kids who wants to aspire to be an engineer? I said, no, that's not correct. It doesn't matter. Now, in any stream of work that you want to work with, you need to know a little bit of AI, a little bit of machine learning, a little bit of data analytics, a little bit of robotics, all of those. It will only enable them. And how that is going to get enabled? Because everything that actually relates to a solution has a numerical ability or numerical solution to that. And the last but not the least is actually the communication skill. I'm sure all of you would have been told by your parents, teachers, and everyone else, the mentors of all of you, that communication skill is the most important thing. Why is that? Again, to the earlier point that I mentioned, if you can't articulate what you are capable of, how will the person sitting across your table will know what your strengths are? Even if you have the ability, but if you can't express it, it's a sorry state, right? And that is one of the main reasons why communication skill is the most important thing for somebody to succeed. Even if you have difficulty in certain technology, you can get trained. Communication also get trained, but communication can be nurtured or fine-tuned only through experience and constant learning. Because if you can't communicate properly, you cannot even go beyond what your peripheries are or boundary conditions are. I really want you guys to focus on that because I have seen some of the students who are coming in the recent past for a different campus recruitment within UST and other companies. A lot of people are getting rejected because their communication skills are very weak. And that is very, very, very important. Whatever said and done, if you don't have very good communication skills, it is not easy for you to succeed in an organization. Can you move on, Albert? So these are, again, I'm sure if you have those abilities, the first three things that I spoke about, analytical skills, numerical skills, and communication, you will get through some of the campus interviews. Because those are the things that you normally get evaluated through different tests and interviews and other things. And assume that you get through that. What is next? That's the question that everybody asks, right? Now, a lot of these things that you see on the screen, whether it is the programming fundamentals, the data structures, algorithms, the database, the DBMS, testing, technology areas, the basic principles of agile and all of those, you will get trained. You don't have to worry about any of those things. Whether it is even mechanical engineering for that matter, obviously most of the companies will have its own labs that will enable you to get trained, or you will also be getting an opportunity to work in different labs of the customer's premises. So you don't have to really worry about all those aspects. It is all about how quickly that you pick up on each of these areas where your interest lies. Albert, can you move? Now, next I'm going to talk about few areas. I'm sure it would be of interest, and also this is where you pick and choose. Everybody cannot focus on all the digital transformation areas that is available. Now, you take data and IoT as a matter of fact. I'm sure all of you would have heard of IoT. If you take mechanical, today you take automotive sector, everybody is talking about how can I bring in IoT in the automotive sector. To give you an example, right? I'm sure some of you would have done some projects too, where now the cars need to be maintained, the maintenance to be done on a proactive manner than a reactive manner. Now, what happens if you have a problem with the car, you take it to the workshop. The technology is enabling you to do a proactive maintenance where you get the signs through different technology areas, where you can actually get the signs to say that this component within your car is not performing to the level it need to. If you don't fix it, it's not only going to cost you money, it is also going to bring down your car on multiple components, because there is an interdependency between components that can actually fail. So that's the level, which is only a high level or a bottom layer that I'm talking about. It has gone to the advanced level of IoT. In fact, we are talking about connected cockpits for the cars, or even the connected instrumentation, or even the infotainment, or even the connected cars which are talking to each other based on different parameters that we set. So all of those are possible if you really take automotive as a sector. How is that enabled? AI machine learning plays a role, because based on the pattern of the issues that you would have identified in the last 6 months to 1 year to 1.5 years, it's all about data. The more the data that you get, you can create patterns to recreate problems and then figure out how or when that can reoccur again. Same thing happens with analytics. Whatever data that you get, you need to really slice and dice to really make a meaningful sense out of the data that you get, so that you can make meaningful decisions for the future. Third, on robotics, again, not only on mechanical, even in any other field, even in semiconductor or any other field, we have so many advanced solutions on robotics today. A lot of the testing that we do today on mechanical engineering or automotive sector is run through robots. The surgeries that I spoke about on healthcare is done by robots, even in Kerala, in some of the hospitals. Now, another thing is to talk about is augmented reality and virtual reality. Again, if you have somebody in any other continent, and if you're really missing them, you can have them on your living room by having an AR, VR setup. And that's the level at which the technology has enabled today. And last but not the least, there are a lot more, but I will wrap it up with just 5 of them. The 5th one is the 5G, which is, again, it's on the way, which will enable you to do almost 10 times faster than what you're doing today on the internet. And that will enable us to do all the other 4 things that I spoke about in a much, much bigger way. And that is why everybody is talking about IoT. The Internet of Things is a reality. And a lot of the companies today are piloting different areas of IoT. Come 3 years to 5 years' time, a lot of companies are going to live and earn their business through the Internet of Things. And that is why you may hear semiconductor as a talking piece, where everybody is talking about silicon chips and foundries and everything, because anything and everything that we are speaking about, all those aspects, is going to have an influence on a chip-based solution, a chip-based driver. And that is why this is the digital future. Now let's slightly get into some of these things. I mean, I'm sure all of you would know about artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'm not going to go into the specificity of each of these things. No, but at the end of the day, right, what is AI and what is machine learning? Now, when you actually, can we replace human intelligence? The answer is absolutely no, completely. But to a level, yes. Because we can actually interpret the visuals, perception, the speech recognition, decision-making, translation, all of those is possible. Right? How it is possible? Because today almost all the companies has got a CCTV. And earlier we never did anything with that data that is coming in rather than monitoring. Today, you take a 2-minute video of that CCTV camera, and we can do video analytics and infer a lot of data from that. We can even understand if a manufacturing unit, whether the raw materials, the machine that are running, the people who are working, how is the productivity measured through the CCTV camera that is available? It is possible. We have done that for multiple customers across the globe. And that is possible only because we have actually brought in an AI machine learning layer. Now, this needs, again, as I said earlier, this needs a lot of statistical models, the algorithms that you need to create. You need to study the pattern, and data comes in handy in this. Otherwise, you can't infer anything out of it. And as you know, when you say that you have implemented an AI machine learning solution for a particular problem, initially, the accuracy may not be there. But over the period of time, it will learn. And that is why it's called machine learning. Because we have actually fed a pattern or an algorithm based on the analysis that we have done in the past. As and when the data comes in into that algorithm or the model, it actually does its own actions on its own. Can you move on? Again, I'm not going to go deep into it. Today, there are so many tools that are available for data analytics. And here, again, statistics becomes a critical part. And again, don't get scared about all these things. If you're a mechanical engineer, don't think that, okay, where am I going to learn AI, machine learning, and data analytics and statistics and so on and so forth. There are people who specializes on each of those areas separately. You doesn't need to learn all of these together. It is up to you to understand what each of these things mean into your career and pick and choose the one you want to focus more and learn more. There are so many online courses that are available, which will even give you a certification to learn some of these things in detail. You can even do projects online, which will enable you to really be proficient in some of these things. Can you move on, Albert? Let's see this video and then I'll explain what it means. Thank you, Albert. So this is a very interesting video that you have watched, right? It has got an element of AI, machine learning, and analytics. What does that mean? Here we are actually leveraging the CCTV camera that this owner has, and it is only viewing the people who are queuing up for buying things, right? Now, what does it actually analyze? So the algorithm that is created is to understand the expressions and the feelings of the people who are standing in queue. And this is not unfamiliar territory for all of us, right? When we stand in queues, we also get frustrated, but I think we have a lot more tolerance level than most of the Westerners. And now, when you see this, in this case, you can see that the last guy who came in, he had his patience level to a brim, and then he decided to leave. Now, that's a frustration level, and he left. For the business guy, he has lost the business. But over the period of time, we will be creating a dashboard at the end of the day, giving it to the owner and saying, see, this is what happened for you in the whole day, where this many people came in, this many people had this much of wait time, and because of XYZ reasons, this many people have left. That means that's a loss for you from a business standpoint, right? This is a very simple example. we were just trying to illustrate how some of these digital technologies is enabling a owner of a restaurant to understand how he is losing people or customers. It has got AI, it has got machine learning, it has also got the analytics that is enabling him to really make meaningful data and make decisions on what he should do. Maybe he should open one more counter to take care of the customers. If this is going to be a long-term process, he can't survive if a lot of people he loses every day. So can you move on, Albert? Now, so that is on the AI, machine learning, and the data analytics, right? Now let's look at AR, VR. And I'm sure this is of interest for people because a lot of kids love to play with this. Now, that is good part. I mean, you can actually use it as a gaming thing. It is no big deal. But from a business standpoint, from an IT company standpoint, how are we going to benefit? Like, for example, let's take a university from an education standpoint. They want to actually make sure that they want a virtual museum to be created or library to be created. They can use AR, VR. They can actually upload all the books and then make sure that they can actually give a real-time experience. Now, let's take another example where in the scenario where somebody wants to really show a furniture mart without having any furnitures within their shop. How do they do that online? Because now a lot of things are being bought online because of COVID. You can easily do that with an AR, VR technology. You can actually have the AR gadget or VR gadget on your eyes and click this link from the online shop and say that for this furniture shop, what are the furnitures that's available? And it will show how the living room will look with the furnitures that they have and how the bedroom will look with all the furnitures that they have. It will enable you to really give a real-time experience. And we can also do it with people, as I said earlier. Albert, you want to show that video too?
Possibly that furniture video is not taken in. We have the other video of the father and child.
Yeah, okay, show that. Thank you.
Stood in a similar capture rig somewhere else in our lab. She's going to holoport into my space, and I'm going to interact with her wearing my HoloLens.
Hi, Bob, I miss you.
Hey, Lily, I miss you too.
When you coming home?
I'm coming home very soon. Let me get out of your way. Hey, Lilia, you can only hear me, you can't see me, but what are these toys?
I have toys to show you. This one is named Elmo.
Elmo?
And he can sing.
You can sing, wow. And what about the other one?
The other one is called Tina, and I like it because it has different stuff.
That's so cool. So, Lilia, can you climb up on this chair that's behind you? Yeah, climb up. Be very careful. Now, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to jump. 1, 2, 3, jump! That was so cool. Oh, let me get out of your way again.
I like you.
I love you too.
So.
I'll be home very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Albert. See, look at this one, right? I mean, it's a very interesting one. The kid cannot have the same experience as a father, but the father can, because father is carrying actually a AR/VR gadget. But it is seamless, right? It exactly feels as if the kid is standing right next to the father and playing with him. And that's the kind of possibilities that the AR/VR technology is bringing in. Again, it has got immense opportunities. We are working with different customers on different use cases. But this is an amazing, interesting experience to work on this. Because these are cool things to do, right? But you have to have the determination to work on some of these things, otherwise you won't get it. And it is not easy. Because here, the perfection is very, very important. Albert, move on to the next one. Now, again, I'm not talking much. I'm sure with a lot of mechanical students in this group, I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. Today, we are actually doing a project for a customer, entertainment customer in US. where they want, you would have heard about the bowling alley in US, right? So for going into the bowling alley, you need to wear separate shoes. So with all the COVID and everything, one of the projects that we are doing is they are asking us to have a robot that will actually clean the shoes after each person uses it and hands it over to the new person coming in for bowling alley. And that's the level at which we are using robotics now. Again, on the automotive sector, as you know, a lot of the assembly line is managed by robots now. So I don't need to talk about the advanced level of robotics that is being used in different manufacturing units. Can you move on, Albert? This one, again, I'm sure the easiest way to talk about is smart city. I'm sure all of you would have heard about, in India also, a lot of cities are getting transformed into smart cities. Other countries are doing it. Singapore is doing it. Multiple countries are doing it. Some of the countries are in advanced stage of 5G and others are catching up. Now, what does it do? It will enable you to really get things enabled in a much faster way than what you're doing today, 10x. And what that means is even the time it takes to download a movie now will happen in seconds. It will get reduced to seconds. And here also, IoT and 5G has got a huge significance to work together hand in hand. That is why if you really add up all the things that I spoke about, whether it is the AI machine learning, the analytics piece, whether it is the AR, VR, the robotics, the 5G, it is a complete combination of IoT and 5G. 5G brings in the network, IoT brings in the technology, a digital transformation for integrating all the verticals and all the functional use cases that a customer needs. Can you move on, Albert? Now, this one, again, one of the latest technology areas, I'm sure you would have heard about Amazon Go. So we have created something similar to that for different customers in US and Europe. And Albert will have a video to show that.
Hello, I'm James Margrave with UST, and I'm here in Heilbronn, Germany, opening our newest autonomous store. UST has brought together the best artificial intelligence with multiple components to bring to life the most state-of-the-art retail experience for brick and mortar retail. Our frictionless shopping experience offers a business model to give merchandise to customers, employees, and in this case, university students, in formats where business has never been able to go before. With this experience, there's 3 simple steps. Scan in, shop as you normally would, and walk out. The journey begins by downloading the UST built interface. Shop.box customer app. Once your bank or card preference has been approved, you're ready to scan into the store using a QR code or tapping the card itself. Inside the store, shopping can take place as usual. Select items, return them to the shelf, or place them in your shopping bag. Upon exiting the store, your virtual basket is automatically calculated and a receipt is displayed on the UST customer app. Inside the store, customers will see the state-of-the-art components working together. First, motion sensors, tracking every movement inside the store. Second, cameras, who recognize the visually trained items being selected with precise accuracy. Third, weight sensors, detecting which items are removed and put back. All 3 components are turned into code, and upon exiting the store, our algorithm sends a payment token to the e-commerce payment platform of choice for your final bill. The concept of this magnificent building you see behind me started with a simple 25 square meter blank space and a desire to bring fresh food, fresh produce, chilled, frozen, and dry goods to students. UST supplied all the hardware, shelves, smart coolers, smart cameras, sensors, doors, and servers, and installed the entire store. Once the customer interface was ready, students began downloading the app and have loved to be able to grab a quick snack in the middle of the night in just seconds. Congratulations to UST, and we look forward to building our next store with you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bikram.
Yeah, Albert, you can disconnect. Yeah, so this one is very, very interesting, right? So here, I'm sure you would have gone to the different shops in Kerala or anywhere else. You go in, actually pick the stuff, then come to the counter to pay, wait for the crowd at the counter, and then tag the price of each of those items, scan it, and then come out, right? That's not the case in this scenario, right? You have an app that you need to download. You get a QR code. So you show the QR code, you get access inside the store. Once you walk inside the store, you have all the items to pick. You can pick 10 items, whichever items that you want. And after you picking it up, you put it in the basket and you walk out. Or before walking out, you realize, okay, I don't want this. I want to keep it back. You can do that. And then finally you decide, okay, these are the 10 things that I'm going to buy. You just walk out. Automatically, you get a receipt on your phone saying these are the things that you bought and this is the payment receipt. You're done with the shopping, right? What an amazing experience. And this is something that we have done for multiple customers in US and Europe. Now, how does that work, or what's the technology involved? Everything that I spoke about, right, from a digital era standpoint, all of those are included on this. You saw some cameras, you saw some sensors, you also saw some weight sensors, all of those working hand in hand with the algorithm that we created from an AI machine learning standpoint. It uses the gesture technology of the nodes of the people that are actually using their hands to pick things. And it actually accurately calculates the number as well as the price because it is loaded in the backend. So all of those are done with the cloud server interconnected, with all the inventory getting reduced. All of those are done in a synchronized manner. And this is the overall amalgamation I was talking about as the overall digital era of what we are seeing. And this is only a snippet of what to expect in the coming years. Albert, can you move on? Now, last but not the least, I'll wrap it up with one more slide, which is so I spoke about all these things, right? Now, what are the things that we are expecting once you have the ability to go into an interview in a company? There are only two things that I'll talk about. Albert, can you move on? One is values I spoke about. Second is the personal attributes that will enable you. As I spoke about the analytical skills, the numerical skills, and the communication, which will enable you to succeed and become a computational engineer for the future with digital era as the foregone conclusion. Without that, you can't survive, right? Everything is going to be digital for what we are actually seeing and believing. So with that, I will wind it up with a short video of UST campus. And I'm sure some of you have seen it, but others, I think you can take a quick preview of our campus through this video. And after that, I'm open for Q&A. Go ahead, Albert. Thank you once again for listening to me and also It's been, again, an honor and a pleasure to have more than 80 plus people joining. So thank you so much, and really look forward to even interacting with you in future if you are joining UST. So thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. My dear participants, I think this is the once in a while chance for you to interact with Mr. Gilroy Mathew. So I think you should take this chance seriously, and you should interact if you have any questions or doubts related to the topic.
Okay, so again, please feel free to ask. I mean, there is no right or wrong answer or a question, so you can have the freedom to ask if you want to.
If you are shy to speak, I think it would be much more better if you just type your question in the chat.
So let's see. Hope it was interesting for all of you. Otherwise, you can even express that too.
Okay, Mr. Gilroy, I think most of all of the students have understood what the topic was. I think you were very crystal clear. So let me invite our chairperson of ASME GCBH, Rajesh P, to deliver the thank you note. Rajesh?
Okay, thank you, Siddharth. Am I visible to you?
No,
yeah,
no.
We can't see you.
Yes. Well, good evening, Mr. Gilroy, and all the guests who are with us here today. And I would like to thank you, Mr. Gilroy, for this wonderful full session on the digital era of engineering. And in fact, we are very fortunate to have such a distinguished guest with us here today. And as a pioneer, as a head of the Pioneer Institution, I can tell that you were in a busy schedule, and amidst that, you are ready and you are able to have to present a wonderful session for us. And you, in fact, are an example to us, Mr. Gilroy, as a person, as what you have explained today, and you explained to us about the insightful activities. Your session was very insightful to us, and you explained to us what a human should possess, and the values as a student and as a person should have to ace in this digital world. And you are, in fact, an example to us, Mr. Gilroy. In fact, amidst all this busy schedule, you are ready and you are capable to present a wonderful session for us. And thank you, Mr. Gilroy, for this beautiful session. And your session was helpful to us, not just in a career perspective, but also you explained to us how a person should. You explained to us about the values a human should possess as a human being, and that I think was the most brilliant thing that anybody could tell us right now. And on behalf of all the ASME GCBH family, I extend my sincere gratitude to Mr. Gilroy, and I also extend my sincere gratitude to his personal assistants who are with us and helped us in coordinating this event. And on behalf of all the ASME GCBH family, I would like to thank all the participants who are with us today. And by this, I declare the session concluded, and thank you.
Thank you, Prajesh, and thank you, Siddharth, and thank you everyone else for being there, and really look forward to talking to you sometime later as well. Prajesh, my name is Gilroy, yeah? So I just want to clarify the way you call me. So
I'm sorry, Mr. Gilroy.
No problem. That happens with my name. So
correct that next time. I'll correct that next time.
No problem. So thank you, everyone, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilroy. Thank you for your time.
Bye.
For the participants, there is a feedback form that is provided in the chat. If you want to share your experience with us, there's a feedback form. So kindly take your time and just provide us your experience. Thank you. Have a good day.